80% of their profits come from the top 20% of their customers. So they are going to put their time and energy into that top 20%. But then what happens to the rest of the 80%?
And that's the first flag you threw. Like, oh, okay, this is something that we need to get you away from.
Looking at your credit report, this is what you need to do in order to get that loan.
I've been a banker for a long time. Ooh, nobody wants to spend the time to do the loans under $1 million.
Everybody's afraid of big banks.
If businesses aren't successful in Tucson, then banks like this would not be successful in Tucson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Rumble Podcast. My name is John Smith. I'm here with Matt the Bulldog Bollinger. Today we're in the main office of where? Matt, where are we?
Tucson Federal Credit Union.
What are we doing here and why are we here?
We are here to learn about credit unions, specifically Tucson Federal Credit Union, and the benefits that they can bring to our community through banking.
Well, what I'm really interested in is their commercial process, right?
Yes.
Because there's so many times that we have a commercial client come to us and they just don't know where to go to financing. They've gone to a conventional bank, they've gone to somewhere else, and they always just run into, sorry, we don't do that. Sorry, we don't do that.
I think credit unions are often overlooked, which is why we're here to share with people that there are other options in town with local bankers, local underwriting, some of the things that would benefit the community.
So without further ado or further build up, we're going to let them introduce themselves because I am not butchering Shaima's name. Okay. And Shaima, hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Tell me your whole name and full name because I'm not going to get it right.
It's Shaima Namazifard. Namazifard.
Namazifard. And who else did you bring with you today? Because I'm going to skip right over that because I could mess that up really bad.
The better half, Tricia Hunter.
Tricia Hunter, the better half. Come on, I've dealt with you guys before, and you're pretty equal.
We're a good team. We're
You're
a good
good
dynamic
team.
duo. Uh-huh.
So here we are, Tucson Federal Credit Union. Tucson. Okay, is that all you have to do is be a resident of Tucson to join your credit union? Like I was saying to you earlier, I always thought you had to be an employee of somewhere, of certain special, Davis Month, and that was always my experience with credit unions, right? Not really knew much about them. It was like, if you didn't know, you didn't ask kind of thing. And lo and behold, here's this little wonderful little secret that Tucson has had since 1937? Tucson Federal Credit Union's been out. And this is maybe my third time walking in the building. So I'm kind of embarrassed because there's so much more to credit unions than people actually know. What's a good example of that?
So TFCU was established in 1937, like you stated, and we started as the Teachers Credit Union.
Right.
We then changed our charter in the 80s to be able to serve the community, so we changed it to Tucson Federal Credit Union.
So I wasn't so far off that the credit union was just for specific employees.
Exactly.
Okay, so maybe that's where I got
Yes,
that. Okay,
absolutely.
And then
I think that was pretty common for a while.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then the next place that I came into was when I bought a car.
Yeah.
Because I had to pay $1 to join the credit union and put some kind of deposit somewhere to be a member, and I don't even know what's going on with those accounts or what. But why is that? Why do I have to be a member? Is it like a Costco? Like you have to be part of this? You have to have the card?
Cult. Just kidding.
Is it a cult? No.
It's not. Credit unions are member-owned. We're not for-profit. So every single member of the credit union establishes a savings account with $5.
Okay.
And that is your share of the credit union, so your piece of ownership of.
Do I get money for ownership? If you guys do have a profit, is there a distribution?
There is dividend distributions for your deposits. So we offer higher dividends, lower rates on loans. So your ownership's really based around the amount of your deposit, kind of like a normal bank, but no ownership for a normal bank, a conventional bank, right? And so what benefits does a credit union give me that a conventional bank would not? Whether it's commercial, whether it's residential, whether it's just me trying to get a loan to buy new camera equipment. I would say it's the experience that you get from the credit union. It's very personable. We take ownership of our members, so anytime that you need something, you're able to get a hold of us quickly.
So you're available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day?
Well, Shaima is.
Call my cell phone. I'll probably answer.
She'll pick up.
I have had that experience with her, so I know. She does answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's the experience for sure that we offer. We pride ourselves on service because that's what credit unions are about, people helping people, and service is a big, huge component of credit unions. So
I had some experience with a conventional bank. It's kind of blue in color, and I won't name the one. Okay.
Do you like to chase it?
Sometimes. But I went in to open a business account. The manager says, we don't have time to do that today. You need to make an appointment and come back. And if we have somebody in the branch this week, we'll open your account. So is that the same kind of service I'm going to get at Tucson Federal Credit Union?
You will not. We accept appointments, but walk-ins are welcomed. I mean, businesses coming in the door, we're going to take that opportunity to service that potential member.
I had a question about, for you, Shaima, as far as why a small or medium-sized business would come to a credit union for a commercial loan to grow their business, to get a line of credit, to purchase inventory or capital goods, whatever they have. What would make that part different? Is it local decision-making, local underwriting? Explain that a little bit to us.
I think that the answer to that speaks to why I even moved from Wells Fargo to Tucson Federal Credit Union. When you work for a big bank, it's as much as they say it's local decision, there are people locally that can maybe hold a pen that approves, but you still have to get approvals from the higher gods and from different levels of approval. And those approvers are not locally. They don't know this market. Right. This is a very special, unique market. We're a tertiary market. We're never going to be a Phoenix, and that's okay. And then when you look at those bigger banks, bankers, and I've been a banker for a long time, nobody wants to spend the time to do the loans under $1 million. Right. It's the same amount of work for a $100,000 line of credit, $100,000 real estate loan, or $1 million. So people want to put their time and energy into those larger dollar amounts. So there's this gap in the market where nobody really wants to serve this small business community of loans under $1 million, and going to bat for them and really going through and helping them understand their financials. And maybe you don't qualify now, but let's teach you and let's get you so that you can be financeable in the future. Right. And we really take that extra step in care with the credit union mentality of taking care of the community, taking care of our members, and getting them to the finish line. And our local decision makers are our C-suite. Our business loan committee consists of our COO, CFO, CEO, and VP of lending. That's our business loan committee.
And they're down the hall in
They
Tucson.
are literally 20 feet away. So I can get their pulse on a loan within 10 minutes and see if they really want to do this loan. And a lot is leveraged on relationships in the community, people that are known in the community, businesses that are known in the community. How can we work it around? And you get to be creative and think outside the box. I think when you go to bigger banks and bigger institutions, you're kind of, it has to fit into a policy. It has to fit into a box. And, you know, just in the 2 years that I've been here, we've done so many creative things outside the box, and that's what makes it exciting, is that we get to be so creative and still do what's right, and we're not taking on bad loans or taking on additional risk. We're doing it in the appropriate manner, whether it's having an SBA guarantee or a financial backing or extra collateral. We really will.
But you're coaching people through that process
100%.
Instead of just a red light, green light, yes, no scenario.
So I just want to make sure I heard you correctly.
Yes.
It may not be what you exactly was trying to say, but it's what I thought, which is a huge difference in my world. Okay?
We'll figure it out.
So it sounds like to me, conventional banks are putting profit before people. I can say that. You don't have to.
I would agree, because even when I was leaving the last institution, I think people are going to put all of their energy. 80% of their profits come from the top 20% of their customers. So they are going to put their time and energy into that top 20%. But then what happens to the rest of the 80%?
Right. Well, that's how you end up with private bankers when you go into a bank. If you put enough in.
The Pareto principle.
Yes.
And so I think that's kind of where it's going. And there's just this lack of support for those smaller businesses and the ones that really need that help, because buying, just like it's the first time buying a home and you need maybe some coaching through it, it's the same for a business, and you just don't know.
That's what I was going to say. So let me throw out a scenario, and kind of maybe this will illustrate how it might be different. But so I know a lot of small businesses, they're doing their own books. They're not maybe the easiest to understand right up front, but you could take the time with somebody to say, okay, explain this, or let's rework this to see, just make sure everything is correct, number one. But I would assume that some people come in here and go, here it is. And you're like, wait, why is this way? Mm-hmm. You're actually more profitable than you're showing, et cetera, et cetera. But you and your risk department can actually see that and maybe jump some of those hurdles to be able to get somebody the funding that they need, versus say a larger institution that just goes, nope, it's just this bottom line number and that's all we care about.
Yeah.
You actually can take the time to dig into their financials and say, okay, it looks like maybe this would work. Or if you do X, Y, and Z, it could work 6 months from now or a year from now or the next time they do their taxes.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It sounds like to me, Tucson Federal Credit Union and Shaima, did I say that right?
You did.
How about that? Okay. And Shaima can actually sit down and take a look at what you have and be able to see if it's not now, it's a matter of when.
Yes.
And as long as you're willing to do the effort and the work to get to when, we're not saying no.
Right.
We're saying follow our plan. We're going to get you there if you're willing to put the work and time in.
Yeah.
Am I correct in that?
Yeah. There's been lots of situations. I mean, I could think of 5 or 6 different client situations where we'll look at, it was a denial on our consumer side, and we'll have the branch manager or the member advocate will reach out and say, this doesn't look right, or maybe it failed our DTI test.
Yep.
But can you look at this and see if they can do something on the business side? Is it something that, and we'll look at it and we'll be like, yeah, actually we can, or no, this is not what their net income needs to be. Set up a meeting. Let me talk to them. They haven't filed their 24 yet. This is what your 23 is. Your 23 doesn't qualify you for a loan, but when your CPA is doing it, I need it to look like this number.
Correct.
To get you to a X number amount of a loan. Go file your taxes, and that's what I need. I only need one.
So it
year.
sounds like, again, correct me if I'm wrong, where a conventional lending institute would put you in a box and run their computer program, see if you can get approval, pre-approval, and then if it's a no, then it's no. But it sounds like to me what Tucson Federal Credit Union is doing, and probably on the consumer side as well, on top of the commercial side, is they're basically looking at each scenario individually.
Yes.
In other words, hey, I have a kazoo factory. Okay. I need a loan.
Yeah.
What do you suggest? And here's my books. Yes, I do them on a piece of paper. And yes, I have this stack of receipts. And yes, I have, but here's my income tax, the whole 9 yards. You're going to look at our kazoo business a little different than just a conventional bank would.
Absolutely.
Okay. And if I have a need, we're going to find a solution. We may not be able to have the solution today, but we may be able to create the solution for tomorrow as long as I do what I'm supposed to and you do what you're supposed to.
I think what the difference maker is there's a genuine level of care.
Which is so missing from the world.
In the community, therefore
Right.
the small businesses, medium-sized businesses that are in the community, you have a vested interest in them being successful. If businesses aren't successful in Tucson, then banks like this would not be successful in Tucson.
Well, and I think it just automatically goes back to ownership.
Yeah.
If I have to own that relationship with my member, and if I cannot advocate for them or do what's right for them, then I'm doing a disservice to them.
Right.
And I think the biggest takeaway, even in when I go to submit loans to our business loan committee, is nothing fits in a box. Everything is different. I was just going over a loan with our CEO today, and it's like, this business has a revenue of $230,000. Okay, in the big scheme of things, that's not a lot comparatively to how businesses are ran. They want to buy a $350,000 building. At first glance, you'd be like, no, that's more. That's 1.5 times their revenue size. Guess what? We're getting it done
because you're investing back into Tucson.
Absolutely.
Is it a scenario like that? Just out of curiosity, you don't have to tell me who it is. Obviously, that's private. But
it's not me.
Is it because the move that they're going to make will likely increase their revenue? Is that kind of how you look at it? Or?
It's because their rent lease payment to their mortgage payment is only a difference of $230, and
so they're profitable already at the revenue
they're
they
profitable.
have. Therefore,
and
they can have ownership.
Even them not paying as much taxes on the personal side or not taking as much of an income personally, we can mitigate it because we'll take additional collateral in a home that gives us comfort that even if the debt service coverage is not there.
And that's exactly how small businesses work. People leverage, they guarantee a business loan because they're not big enough maybe in the business yet that the business itself can collateralize that loan. Yeah. But personally with the business, you can make something like that work. That's a big difference.
So are they having to personal guarantee the loans on top of the business?
All of our loans, you have to
personal
personally guarantee.
Okay.
And then we have the SBA backing on top of it. So SBA is a little bit more forgiving with debt service coverages and,
and down payments too, right?
And with the down payment, they're only putting 10% down, so they're keeping their liquidity at a high. So, there's hair. I like to say there's hair on every deal. There's no deal that doesn't have hair on it. But is there enough legs for it to stand on?
Yes.
And I think business owners or small business sometimes get desperate and are scared to go to a bank and maybe will get themselves in bad situations. Well, they'll go to a hard money lender or they'll go into...
They're paying 3-4 points and 12% interest.
Well, that was my next question.
Right, or a seller carry that's like kind of outrageous and it's like...
With a short balloon on it.
Right.
They're going to have to come to you anyway.
If not a credit union and if not Tucson Federal Credit Union, where else? Because it sounds like to me a conventional bank is almost next to impossible to get a loan through, in my opinion. And
for smaller loans,
yeah,
I know for certain banks, I've even heard like we don't want to do anything unless it's $3 million.
Even one of the first loans that we did here was for one of my clients out west, and we couldn't do the loan, and so we ended up giving it to another lender. And when we were refinancing it, it was an adjustable rate, and which also is, I would never give someone an adjustable rate. I think that's bad business, and especially in a market that is so volatile. Why would you do that? I need to sleep well at night. We're not going to do that.
No, you saved, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but you saved a client from us that was only given the option of an adjustable rate. We just introduced you out of respect to the both of you just to see if you could do something. And that's the first flag you threw. Like, oh, okay, this is something that we need to get you away from. And she's been in there for a while and loves her loan.
Yeah.
And so that's what I like about the service that you offer is that you won't just take it and go, okay, yeah, we can match this or beat it. You'll go, okay, let's put a different plan together because this is what I think you need, and this is why. Yeah. And then our client was just over the moon about it because the interest rate, it was an adjustable rate. It was just, there was a lot there.
Right.
And then you just cleaned that all up for her, saw what her potential was, and she's a local business, and you guys got her a loan.
And very creditworthy. And I think other lenders or hard money lenders or brokers will often scare small business owners into thinking that they have no other choice.
Last option.
It's a last resort. And even with that client that we gave to the other lender, and when we were refinancing it, and I was looking at it, it was an adjustable rate, and they had cross-collateralized every single personal property that they had. They had 3 homes. 2 that were free and clear, 1 with a mortgage. And for this loan, they had cross-collateralized everything that they had.
So they potentially could have lost everything.
And so when we refinanced it, I was like, I'm going to leave 2 of your properties free and clear. I'm only taking 1. It's not necessary that we do it anymore. Yeah. And it's doing the right thing.
You're right. There's doing the right thing just for the sake of it being the right thing. I love that about it. So let's talk about some of the other stuff that Tucson Federal Credit Union offers its members. Some of the benefits that we kind of touched on at the very beginning that are more along your consumer side.
Look at Matt go. Put him in front of a mining conversation and look at him talk. Man, I'm just going to sit back here and drink my vodka.
So some of the other benefits that we touched on at first, like, a better rate on car loans, things like that somebody, you might start that way at the bank, and then you kind of can build into where Shaima would come in and help you if you have a business or you need a commercial loan for whatever reason. So why don't you talk a little bit about the benefits there?
Yeah, absolutely. On the consumer side, your membership starts with the savings account, and once you establish that, you're eligible for other services such as checking accounts, money market, CDs, any type of loan that we offer under the consumer, as well as business if you're a business owner. So it is a full-service financial institution. The misconception for credit unions is it's only a savings account. You only have a share account. No, we are a full-service financial institution. We are not similar to traditional banks, but we offer the same services, but the experience is better. Just listening to Shaima and all the great things that she's doing, it's similar that all of our frontline staff, they're doing the same thing with our members walking in the door, and they're taking care of them exactly the way we would do on the...
What about insurance? Is it similar?
Insurance?
Yeah, so say, for somebody's account, as far as its coverage.
Oh, yes. We are covered by the NCUA.
That's why I want to bring it up, because it's different than the federal.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what all credit unions are insured by NCUA.
So it's all pooled.
Yeah, $250,000.
Okay, so it's the same.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think because we're a full service financial institution, there's times where we'll get a phone call from a business owner. He's like, I just started a business, and I'm like, you know what, I can't help you because you haven't been in business for 2 or 3 years. But how much are you looking for? And he's like, 30,000. I said, I can get you 25. Do you have good credit? Yeah, apply for a personal loan on our consumer side. It's a means to an end. It'll get you the equity that you need to start your business. In 2 years, come and see me, and we'll get you whatever else you need. Yeah. Or, I'll have a business owner say, I want to buy this building, or I really don't want to do X, Y, and Z. I need it done quick, and I say to them, go get a home equity line of credit. You have the equity in your home. We can get it done in 4 weeks. Go solve your problem and just go, because we can do it all. Right. There's 10 different ways to get it done.
Residential mortgages, everything.
You're getting, at the end of the day, it's doing the right thing by the member, and it's building that relationship, and they're going to remember that you did the right thing. And I always tell members and people that call me, I don't care if you don't do the loan with me. See me as a resource. Ask me questions and see if you're getting the right thing somewhere else, and shop us.
Yeah. So it truly is a one-stop shop. Does everything that a huge institution does, but with a personal feel to it.
As far as commercial loans, what are the different options, right? Because you've got to have different products for different people. Not everybody can get an SBA, right?
Not everyone.
So if I can't get an SBA, what do I get? What can I try to get?
You get 20% down.
Boom.
Yes, you do. So we do conventional financing, and I like to say it's like a VA or conventional loan on the residential side, and it's either a SBA loan or a conventional loan on the business side. And we generally we only we only require 20% down for owner occupied. We also can offer 20% for some investor real estate. So we do investor real estate. We may ask for a little bit more down payment depending on the occupancy of the building, things like that. But we are a full service shop and we do all of it. My specialty is I've been doing SBA now probably for the last 5 years. And I don't want to say I'm really good at it, but I'm good at it.
You're
and
really
I know
I would say you're really good at it.
I know the rules and I know the workarounds and I know, and really it's the right thing to do. And, people don't want to do the 7A. A lot of lenders in town that do SBA will only do the 504, which is easy. It's a 50% piece conventional loan, 40% you deal with someone else. But 7A is more work and you have to get a guarantee from the SBA and, it's our fiduciary responsibility to give all the options to our members and they choose what's best for them. I'm not going to tell them to go 504 or 7A. These are how it's going to be. These are different prices. You choose what's best or you go conventional if you have the means to do it. And
so I've known you for a while.
Yeah.
And without even knowing that this is what you do. Okay. And we're friends on Facebook. Okay. But you're also friends with a few other friends. But what I can tell you about yourself, whether you know this or not, is that you love Tucson.
I do.
And it shows in everything that you do, at least in your social media, the events you go to, the charities you support. So if I don't ever have the opportunity to say thank you for what you do to Tucson, I'm taking this time to do that. Because I can see your passion and why you want Tucson to grow and help small businesses. Listen, there's businesses out there that don't need loans, that take loans. But it's the businesses that can't get a loan because they're beginners or because they've just begun, the startups. This is a place for you to go, right? You're the person. And if they haven't met you yet, they need to, because that's all it's going to take.
You step in at the most crucial time of a business's life, which is, yes, you've started a business, you've established it a little bit, but now how do we scale that business? Well, it takes money, number one. So that's where you would step in and do a business loan with somebody that can actually allow them to increase their revenue, increase their profits.
But I can see the pride when she speaks about doing that for Tucson. Look, she could do it on a national level. She's shown that. But what it's so beautiful about Tucson is there's people like this that have a passion for Tucson, that want to see businesses succeed. And when they do, you kind of wear it like a star. I mean,
that's what makes Tucson Federal Credit Union important.
Yeah.
To Tucson.
So, okay.
It's cool to drive down and be like, I help them.
I know.
Yeah,
we do the same thing.
We do the same thing.
Yeah.
We've done that. It is cool to do that.
It's cool, yeah.
So yeah, I get it. And so what I want to know is, just because I was afraid of credit union, that age 18 to 35 probably, when I wasn't quite grown up. My wife will give you bigger numbers than that. But but what are you doing to get to young people to make sure that they know about federal credit unions, credit unions in general, okay? Because I think it would be a great option for somebody just starting their life out, just starting to establish credit. I think a credit union would be perfect for them. So is there ways that people can educate themselves, or they just have to walk into your bank?
We have jumpstart programs and accounts that are really attractive, and through the app, they've made it really interactive where kids can learn about financial literacy. And I think that that's a lost art in our school system. People don't know about credit, about how to handle credit. And so I think that's something that we're really invested. And then we have a real life, I would say, personal credit coach. Her name is Lisa Atkinson, and she is free. She doesn't cost a thing. And she will help anyone in the community that is a member with their finances and helping them with the path to homeownership, the path to building their credit, their path to paying things off, she works, that is her her job. That's all she does, and it's I think it's a gem of a person to have.
No, and I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the experiences that I believe anybody has the right to own a home or to get a business, or as long as they're willing to put the work in. I believe that in my heart, and they deserve representation, and they deserve hearing and education all to go with it. A lot of times you get these lenders who want to lend on these programs, but your credit's not so perfect, so you're going to have to pay these guys $500 to get started, $1,000 to get your credit fixed. When
It's like the last thing those people need.
Yeah.
Right?
If they had $500, they'd pay their bill.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's great to hear that you have somebody in house that would kind of credit counsel them.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. And to where we could come and say, well, here, go talk to Tucson Federal Credit. They have a credit counselor on staff. They're not going to charge you. And of course, they're going to work you towards a loan.
Yeah.
And then as an agent, I can turn around and say, I have somebody. It's not no, it's win.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of time as long as you're willing to do it. So that we align so much on that.
And she also helps out members that have been declined for a consumer loan, and then says, okay, looking at your credit report, this is what you need to do in order to get that loan. And then 2-3 months down the road, we're able to then grant that loan because of all the work that they put in together.
I've had people walk in my door with $80,000 in the bank, a 720 credit score, and go, I want to buy a rent to own. Right? It goes back to education.
Yeah.
Right.
And if somebody immediately says that, I can attach them to a credit counselor, and then the credit counselor can educate them on, well, no, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And you have plenty of money in the bank to do this, and your credit score exceeds what we thought.
Yeah.
But some people just don't know because they're not educated. Well, one, what a credit union is, and two, they're afraid of big banks. Everybody's afraid of big banks. I remember a long time ago when I was 18, I filled out a credit application, and you had to wait because I was trying to buy a stereo.
You were going to borrow.
I needed this. I didn't have any money. I needed a stereo. I need speakers this big. You know what I'm saying? I needed
sounds
a
like
5-disc CD
good
changer.
loan. Yeah.
So I remember walking through the mall waiting to see if I was approved. I was just sick to my stomach. Right? Nobody wants to go because nobody wants to know.
Right.
But
You don't want to be rejected.
But they sure do want a plan that we can turn our no into a yes any day.
And I think with Lisa, she takes a lot of pride in that, in her role. And, because we are a credit union, all of us credit unions, I think the biggest learning when I came here is I did not realize when I was at Wells and Chase does not talk to each other. You don't call them and say, hey, how are you doing this program? You don't call each other. No one shares insider trade secrets. Here, I can pick up the phone for Vantage, Pima Federal, and say, hey, how are you guys doing this? How is this program ran? Tell me about your success and how is it done? So along those same lines, all the credit unions locally are part of a homeowners, first-time home buyers program where you can buy it with no money down. Correct me if I'm wrong. As long as you have a 640 credit score. And the learning through the roundtables that we've had in the discussions is there isn't a home, the price range of the homes, it's hard to find something that they qualify for with their income. But other than that, they're qualified. So they can buy it with 0% down. They just haven't found the right, which we're now in the home buying season, right? And things are changing. But yeah, so all of us in the credit union, we're invested in Tucson and getting people into their first home. And it's a program that we're all running, and we really want to help them through the path of homeownership.
So how much planning do you suggest a small business does in terms of preparing their financials, mostly their taxes? Because everybody knows how small businesses operate. They're trying to take everything they can to pay as little as possible.
Yeah,
Right.
Legally, of course, but then they don't have the income.
Mm-hmm.
So when you sit down and dig through that, are you coaching somebody there too on, okay, so this next year you need to probably make this look a little bit cleaner so that we can make sure that you can qualify for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people maybe have like a sole proprietorship or something that they do on the side or a side hobby.
Everything's all intermingled in their personal and their business.
Yeah, and then you want a loan, and I'm going to ask you for every business to give me a P&L and balance sheet, and they're like, oh, well, I just do that on the side. Okay, but it's on your taxes, so now we need to have financials for it. So I think the process, just like buying a home, it really forces you to get your ducks in a row, and we'll help you and we'll assist what we can. And we have for SBA, we have resources locally. We'll send you to them to help you with business projections and business plans, and that's all they do. And
so making that call early is really important, so somebody can then plan to get a loan. As a self-employed person, you're always kind of, even for mortgage loans, you're if you want to borrow as much as you possibly can, you're working your income.
Yep.
And maybe you're leaving some on the table that you could take that you wouldn't pay tax on, but legitimate expenses,
right.
But you need those to be in there for the income. So there's a planning process that could be a year? What do you? I heard you say earlier that you need that 1 year. Is that pretty standard, or are you really looking for 2 years?
Well, see, I was going to ask you a question
sometimes
about startups, and our question kind of goes in. So I want to create a peanut butter. Well, no, I want to create water degradable fishing line. In other words, it disappears after 6 months. So I know I got to do some things, some gelatin and stuff. But I have this great idea, and I have this beautiful presentation, and I'm going to come in here and put it on every TV you have. Do I even have a chance to get a loan?
I will tell you, our strategic plan as a board, it has not been to do startups.
Too risky.
It's just risky. Now, if it's a startup that is a franchise, absolutely, sure, because it's vetted by the SBA. But startup, it's challenging, and we have plenty of resources locally that'll do microloans, $50,000, $100,000, and they can do that. And once after 2 years they've shown profitable and then they can come to us and we can refinance it. We can do other things for them, but we are not that stop for them. But I will say to them, hey, do you have collateral? Do you have equity? Can you find other means to pull that money out to do that startup? But really, we need at least 2 years of financials for under 150 and more than 2 years for anything over. SBA, to qualify for it not being a startup, it's 2 years of taxes.
And the purpose accepting franchises is because they have proven success in
they have proven success, well-oiled machine,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
Okay, in perspective.
And back to, I forgot to mention this when on the building of the credit, if you don't qualify for a credit card with us, we'll give you a $500 credit card to help you build your credit.
People are going to be at the door tomorrow.
Young people, that's great, though, because a lot of times that's where
great.
They run into trouble in building their credit.
Right. You
have to go to a family member and go, hey,
okay, so they'll give you a credit limit of $500.
No, credit limit, but it'll be, but it's for our members, so we can see their deposit history. We can see how they're handling their account, and it's a good faith loan to help build their credit to then gradually build them up.
Understand.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
really
reported like a credit card.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, they can build credit, albeit slowly, with $500, but still, it's something.
Better than nothing.
That might work into a car loan next, or it
in the
might work
future.
into a home loan. It might work into a business loan down the road.
I'm going to try something that never works on this podcast.
Tell me.
And it's usually because of me. I'm going to say 5 words, and you're going to give me your response.
Usually he only gets through 3, and then we move on.
Okay? He is 100% correct.
He forgets the last 2.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to try
scared.
5 words.
Okay.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh, no. They know more than anybody. They edited me out completely. So we're going to try 5 words.
Do you have the words?
But I'm just going to make it up. 5 things that we're going to talk about that we should know about credit unions. Okay? So I'm going to use number 1, credit score. Minimum?
I would say minimum is 640.
Cash on hand. How important is that?
Liquidity is important. It depends on the type of loan and what you're going to do. But the good rule of thumb is to have between 10 and 20% for a loan on hand.
Okay. Number 3, years in the business that you're currently operating. How important is that?
Very important. It has to be 2 or more.
2 or more. So 1.5 is not going to cut it. You're going to turn me around and send me away.
No, if you have 2 tax years, if it's a 1.5 years with 2 tax years, it works.
Okay.
So 2 tax
2 tax years.
filings.
2
Plus,
tax
plus
filings.
year to date.
Plus year to date.
How about business partners where one person has credit and the other person does not?
it just depends how strong the one. We have had situations where one borrower is stronger than the other, and as long as it looks globally and they're not delinquent on all kinds of things, we can do it. Yep.
So business ownership, 10% or more per owner. All owners have to be
20% or more.
20%.
20%.
They have
That's
to.
actually more than what I've seen before.
Yeah, so I've seen
Usually
10.
it's like 10.
Yeah.
20% or more must guarantee.
Okay.
Okay. U of A, ASU.
Obviously, U of A, duh.
Okay. You never know who you're dealing with in these times,
No.
right? We're off the 5, but I want to know about interest rates. I want to know if your interest rates are different than a conventional bank, a conventional lender, like a broker. Because it seems like some of the lenders that we use, and we're talking residential here, it's always just seems to be a little more expensive than what we hear on the news.
Back to the whole, I want to do what's right for the borrower. I'm not, I like to sleep well at night, and I'm not going to do what's wrong. And I've never given a high interest rate just to get a high interest rate. It's always within market. It's always reasonable. If there's a competition, we will look at what their competitor is offering and see if we want to match it or beat it.
Yeah.
And I would say always shop 3, and maybe I may be higher on the rate, but maybe they're offering a 5-year prepayment penalty. I have a lesser prepayment penalty. Their loan fees are higher. How much are they charging? We were up on an SBA loan, and the amount of fees that a regional bank, not even a bank at Chase Wells, they were charging for a loan was outrageous to what we were charging. And I was like, you can go that route if you want to, but we're not going to charge you more than this amount of money. And it's doing the right thing. So I can put a side-by-side comparison for you, and I will show you why it's better to go this route, and we do those comparisons for borrowers if they need it.
Do you have any special programs for veterans in the commercial
I
side
was gonna
or
ask
the
on the
residential?
residential side. You do VA and FHA loans?
We do not.
Okay.
Okay,
Regular conventional.
conventional. So no VA. Do you don't want to use the word preferential treatment, but since I already said it, any preferential treatment for veterans?
So on the SBA side, people ask, I'm a minority owned, or I'm woman owned, or I'm a VA. We cannot give any preferential treatment based on that. The only reasons why those would be beneficial is to get government grants, and you can use those to obtain grants,
handle
or
grants?
contracts, but nothing like it doesn't change your SBA or anything like that.
Okay.
They would consider that discriminatory no matter who had preference over somebody else. Okay.
Yep.
That's fair.
All right. Top 5 things you like about Tucson. We're 6, so we're going to alternate back and forth. Tucson.
Okay.
Ready, Tutton? Go. 1.
The mountains.
The weather.
The people.
Oh, that was a good one.
Families. All here.
Families.
The ability to get around without too much traffic.
Right? Everyone here is funny because I used to live in Phoenix, and to me, everything's 25 minutes away.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
like, I'm not driving across town. And they
Yeah,
just
everyone
laugh.
stays in their pocket. Yeah.
It just it's fun. So I think one of the coolest things about Tucson is the people, including the both of you, because it's very obvious that you care about the people of Tucson. It's very obvious you want people to succeed, to get the loan that they can financially afford, to a loan that's going to work for what their goals are. On a parting note, so I want a commercial loan. How do I get a hold of you?
On our website, we have our lending team. We have a way to get a hold of us. You could put in information, and we'll just respond to that. So on our website, you can just put in a little
Intake form.
What's the name of your website?
TucsonFCU.com.
In conclusion, don't be afraid of credit unions. Walk in the door, introduce yourself. They're going to want to see you, and they want to talk to you about what you do. I feel like that's Tucson.
Yeah.
Because, see, it's not a matter if I see you again, it's when I see you again in Tucson. And if I could see my lender or the people that support Tucson financially and help us grow out at everyday functions, out paying it back, out in my community, educating, setting up programs to teach my kids, to teach consumers. That's who I want to do business with. I don't want to just do business through a computer screen. Yeah. I want to face-to-face. And if I'm going to open a business or I'm going to need money from it, I want to see who's helping me get there. So thanks for what you do, Tucson.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you guys for having this conversation.
Heck yeah, we'll have it again. See ya.